Well, here's another nugget of history of El Dorado County. We're here at, this is now the Placerville Hardware, but it was the Mountain Democrat office for the newspaper, which is actually the oldest newspaper here in the western United States. Now, originally it was the Mountain Republican, and then it was bought and became the Mountain Democrat. Now, during the Civil War, they were considered to be pro-Confederate, and they were not allowed to use the post office. They weren't allowed to use the U.S. mail. So like today where we have FedEx, well, they had the Confederate X. And you had wagons taking the Mountain Democrat papers all throughout the county. And what I'd like to point out is one of the editors and contributing editors, I've heard both, for the Mountain Democrat, he was later an editor for the Sacramento Bee and the Herald, was John Rowland Ridge. He wrote for the Mountain Democrat. I know that he was the editor to Sacramento Bee. He's buried up in the Grass Valley Cemetery with his wife. Well, he's Cherokee. And you would be surprised at how many Cherokees came here to the gold rush. And the reason for this is because the first gold rush was not in California. The first gold rush was in 1829 to the old Cherokee Nation in Georgia and corner of Tennessee in 1829. Well, the Cherokees were very familiar with the gold rush. And then there's a little something else happened. My ancestor, Kutche, otherwise known as George Tassel, well, his sister Werta had a little boy, oldest boy I should say, had several sons. The oldest boy was Sequoyah. And Sequoyah is the first man in the history of the world to create an entire language for his people by himself. And the Cherokee, as soon as this got out, that it proved its worth, everybody's barn, tree, everywhere was having Cherokee written on it. Directions, who it was, the Bible was translated to Cherokee, everything. Well, they got an 85% literacy rate. And then, in 1843, despite the fact that they had won their Supreme Court case against removal, President Andrew Jackson had them removed anyway. So they no more than got to the Indian Territory, 1843, 1844. They're starting to set up, and they heard about the gold rush to California. And here they came, because they knew what you needed to have. They were familiar with it. They saw it as the economic opportunity. Now, just a little aside to this, I've got a few Cherokees that were Cherokee, but I got a lot of them that are Osage, and about a third of the Osage got assimilated by the Cherokee in 1827. And this factors into this in just a bit. Now, all these Cherokee and a lot of Osage came out here. They set up mines. I'm going to show you one of these in one of the future programs. And John Rowland Ridge, whose Cherokee name was Yellowbird, was working here. Well, he wrote a book about one of the local banditos, Joaquin Murrieta. You'll know it as Zorro. The Legend of Zorro is all based on that book. And you will see here on the program a cover of one of those original books, but it doesn't have the name John Rowland Ridge on it. It has the name Yellowbird. It's because he didn't write the book for the American public. At the time, the average American literacy rate was only 13%. The Cherokee literacy rate was exceeding 87%, and they loved to read. They were transcribing Shakespeare. They were transcribing all sorts of stuff into their language. And the thing of it is, Sequoyah's invention was very user-friendly. The average Cherokee could learn to read and write within a week. It was phonetically based. So the original Legend of Zorro was made as a North American version of Robin Hood for a Cherokee audience. And this is one of the first places that John Rowland Ridge, Yellowbird, actually got his feet wet, if you will, into the printing and publishing business right here in El Dorado County. And if you wonder why they might have thought they were pro-Confederate, realize that John Rowland Ridge, Yellowbird, is General Stan Waddy's nephew. Anyways, I hope you'll tune in another time for another nugget of history in El Dorado County here with Grizzly Nixon. Shimiji Gahike Odo Dahima Wado. Thank you very much.